Good morning, friends. It's been a while since I've done a little video. Won't go into why, but there we go. So I've got a bit of a mission on today. I'm on my way to the train station and then I'm going down to Plymouth. I'm picking up a boat that my friend's just bought and we're going to sail it round Land's End and back up here to West Cumbria. And the weather's not looking good, so it's going to be exciting. But the reason I'm bringing you along is I'm going to try and do a bit of maritime mobile while I'm out there. However, given the forecast, that might not happen. But regardless, I think there's some things on the boat, which is a beautiful boat, that you may find interesting. So, either way, it should be worth watching. See you in a bit.
The strap off this brand new bag already.
And super spacious inside.
Yeah.
Mmm. A friend of mine's bought a new boat, this beautiful thing, and we need to get it back to his home marina. So I thought, for the first time, I'll try and do some maritime mobile operations. So I've got radio gear with me. I've got a couple of different antennas, end-fed half-wave, a Magi tenor, and I thought I'll try and rig something up and do a few contacts, weather permitting. The weather at the minute, yeah, it's not looking good. We've got to go around past Lizard Point, round Land's End, Bristol Channel, up the Irish Sea, and it's going to be rough. But this boat has hydraulic stabilisers to keep it fairly level. I thought I'd bring you along on the adventure. Whether I get to do any radio stuff is looking a bit doubtful, but hopefully I'll try. Callum from DX Commander, by the way, would love this boat. It's a Nordhavn 43, and if you know, you know. It's the boaty person's boat. Anyway, tomorrow, up at 4 AM, it's currently 10 PM, and then go and battle the weather. We're currently in Plymouth, so we're going to leave Plymouth Sound, head for Lizard Point, round Land's End. It's going to be horrible, but hopefully nature gives us a bit of a break travelling further north. Yeah, I think we're seeing gusts of over 30 knots, and at some point it's a quartering sea as well. If you don't understand sea stuff, don't worry. I'm sure I'll get some footage. Never looks as rough as it really is in 2D on a camera, but I'll try and make it as real as I can. Anyway, see you all in the next cut.
Stabilisers are working well.
If only they didn't for pitch.
Yeah. Pitchalizers.
Elevators.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, she's bumpy in here for out here. The camera will never do it justice though, will it, to show like what kind of conditions we're in, but
There's only one thing going to help with pitch. Make your boat 20 metres longer.
20 metres longer, then we're alright.
Yeah, you should have bought a 43 metre instead of a 43 foot.
Yeah. It's like when you're out in the sea like this, you kind of wish you had a 68 Nordhavn, or a 63, or...
We're going to need a bigger boat.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Well, we're well at sea now, and I'm on watch for the next few hours, I think. And it's still really rough, but it's all legit. I'm quite liking this boat. If I was in any of the boats I've ever owned in this, I'd be slightly nervous. Oh, drop off.
Oh, that's a big cliff,
God, they're getting bigger. This must be a That's got to be a 5 metre swell, that.
Oh yeah, it's like just brought that one legit up. Right over the top. It's good, that's momentum. We're getting a treacherous type of water now, aren't we? So yes.
Oh, we're in the Atlantic now. We've just rounded Lizard Point. The seas are very confused. The waves seem to be in every direction. And we just had we beam onto it really, to the bulk of it, heading towards Land's End. And we just had a double roll that hit the stops on the inclinometer, so I think we hit about 40 degrees each way. That was fun. Made some noises. I think some stuff went flying. So yeah, just cling on another 6 hours and we should be in the calmer water. Ooh. Still, at least I got 3.5 hours sleep last night. There's that. Milford Haven's only about 20 hours away.
Inshore is forecast to 12 knots offshore for the period 1800 UTC, Tuesday, 3rd of February to 1800 UTC. General situation: low pressure centered to the west or southwest of the United Kingdom will continue to bring an unsettled and maybe moderate or strong easterly or southeasterly flow across all areas, with gales and snow at times in the far northeast, and a risk of gales later on Wednesday into Thursday in the southwest.
Had absolutely no luck with the radio stuff, by the way. I think there might be something wrong with the radio. It's not receiving anything, like nothing, not even FT8, so there's a problem. Well, this is pretty annoying. I've continuity tested the end-fed half wave. Granted, I wouldn't transmit like that, but all the 20 odd metres of wires out on the pontoon. And if we look at 7 metres, there's just nothing across the entire band. Let's try that again. Let's try 20 metres. Bollocks, I think my IC705's broken. Well, that's the end of the ham mission. No contacts here. I've got my FT5. Could try some 2 metres, but that ain't going to work in the middle of Cardigan Bay, is it? Disappointing. Really wanted to nail this. Anyway, at least you've got to come along on a bit of a sailing adventure and see how you could have done Maritime Mobile if you'd been more prepared. And we've departed Nayland Point Marina. Just heading out of Milford Haven. We're going to anchor at Dale until about, well, until exactly, because we've planned it, until 5:30, and then straight out, night sail up Cardigan Bay, and then it should be daytime Irish Sea up from Holyhead, and into Whitehaven. Very exciting. What I'm most excited about is when we drop anchor, I'm going to make a load of food because we haven't had breakfast. So we're anchored up in Dale Head, I think it's called, or Dale, I think it's more colloquially known as. Anchorage off Milford Haven, right near the entrance, which is there. And then we've got the industrial hinterland. We've come from that way, that's where Nayland was, and Milford Haven itself. And then we've got this beautiful anchorage here in Dale, out in the countryside a bit. So, just made hot dogs for lunch, prepped a bit of tuna mayo salad. We're going to make some sandwiches, roast beef, rocket, horseradish stuff. Just
the lesson we learned from coming up here, although we're not expecting anything like the weather that we had around Land's End, but we couldn't cook. You could barely move around the boat. It's very difficult. So rather than be trapped with no food and drink again, we're prepping sandwiches just in case, and then we can go and raid them. But we've got about 3 hours to wait here now, and then we'll be setting off at 5:30 for a 31-hour trip up to Whitehaven. Yeah, so we're setting off just as it's starting to get dark, so straight into a night passage, then a day passage up the Irish Sea, then back into night, and we'll be going through the lock at Whitehaven about 1 AM. And annoyingly, still can't get the radio working, so I think it's back to the FT817 from now on. Too much technology in these newfangled radios. I'll have to find out what it is though. Very annoying. So sorry I didn't do any radio stuff. There's the lads. I'm going to be on the throttle while we weigh the anchor, and then we're off. So it's just after 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, the 7th of February, and I'm bored, so I've been messing with the nav system and turned the boat 180 degrees while I was trying. Anyway, that was a bit dramatic. So we've got Navionics working with Time Zero, working with the ancient Time Zero called NavNet 3D, and we've now got it following a route automatically. So that'll, if we all fall asleep now, that'll take us to Whitehaven. Oh, it's a sailor's life for me. So I was up all day yesterday. Sometime in the evening, got about a 2-hour rest period. I think I slept for perhaps 20 minutes, and then I was up through the night. Started my watch, or one of my watches, at 2 AM, finished that at 6 AM, went to bed for 2.5 hours, got back up because I just couldn't sleep. So but there's definitely going to be no sleep for the rest of the Irish Sea because it's lumpy, but not to worry, I can have a kip when we get in tonight, about 1 o'clock in the morning, after 31 hours at sea, and it's going to be flat calm in the marina. Oh yes. We're just north of Holyhead and I'm attempting a full breakfast. Just because you're on a boat at sea, it's no excuse to slum it. Oh, though she's bouncy. Oh, the sea state's really picked up now. I've started doing this. It was flat when I decided to make it. So, this is my plan. Sausages, cut up into bits, can of beans in there, do the bacon in there, scrambled egg in this one, and then the magic happens. The question is, I'm not sure we're going to be able to eat it. I think the lads might need to come down into the saloon because I'm not taking up to the bridge. So we're approaching these wind farms here off the coast of Cumbria, and we've just picked them up on radar here, and then the traditional radar screens, big cluster of them there, like the Spanish Armada, but more dangerous. And we're in, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of lessons learned there over the whole trip. I think the biggest one is fatigue doesn't lead to good outcomes. So keeping a proper regimented watch regime is important rather than trying to be Superman, which we did, but we got away with it. But anyway, there's the Nord safely on a berth. Good job to all, especially the boat. So that was the sailing trip from Plymouth to Whitehaven, and as I was editing it, it's now
almost a week after. Well, it's about 5 days after we got back. I realised it doesn't really tell a proper story because I'm rubbish at filming. So to summarise my attempt at Maritime Mobile and what this trip was about, really, I think we need a more interesting background than a saloon, don't we? To the engine room. That's better. Big old reliable lugger here. So yeah, to summarise what the trip was about, my good friends Cliff and Claire have wanted, as have I actually, they've wanted a Nordhavn for years and years and years. They're just such a well sought after boat. It's not like a Sunseeker. It's not a trend. It's if you want to go to sea and do some serious travelling, this is the boat to do it on. And there's like Nordhavn's, Dreamers groups, because they're not cheap. Like, they're out of reach for most people. But anyway, I followed the whole purchasing process of this boat along with Cliff and Claire, and it's been very interesting. Quite a privilege, to be honest. But we saw this one for sale, and it was in Barcelona, and Cliff and I were just like perving over it. Just like, oh, look at that! Imagine if only. And then he rings me up and says, "I'm going to do it, Nathan. I'm pulling the trigger on it." So it took about 5 months to buy it. It was so various reasons he couldn't buy it while it was in Barcelona. So they had to get a delivery crew to bring it back to Plymouth, and that's when our little trip started. So yeah, so we set off from Plymouth. It was about 31 hours to Milford Haven. A couple of nights in there because the wind was picking up really badly, and even though the boat will handle it, it's not fun. I mean, the conditions we went through, particularly around Land's End, were pretty horrible, and you wouldn't want to intentionally go into them when you don't have to. And then headed north again to Whitehaven, up the Irish Sea, past Holyhead and all the rest of that. That was another 30-hour trip, but then we arrived early, because I think I did the passage planning and got it a bit... No, in fact, the boat performed better than we expected. That was the reason. So we arrived at 9:30. We couldn't get in on the tide until 1 o'clock, and so got a little bit of rest at anchor, and then got the boat in here. As for the radio, obviously I wanted to do some Maritime Mobile. It didn't work out. IC705's broke. So I'm going to go back on the Yaesu FT817, 818 even. I love that little radio, and with the amplifier I've got, it'll be spot on. So hopefully this summer I will get some an actual Maritime Mobile session in. But until then, I'll find another project to entertain you with. So good seeing you all. Goodbye. Oh, there's one more thing before we sign off. This beautiful lugger engine. It needs a bit of a clean. That needs a bit of a clean, and that's the wing engine, a Yanmar, and then there's a big Northern Lights 10 kVA generator. So you could run a decent size amplifier on that. And Cliff and Claire are back at home at the minute, and they've left me with the keys to this gorgeous beast. But I think the only reason Cliff trusts me with it is because he knows I can't afford to fill the fuel tank up. So I can't go anywhere. Anyway, bye-bye. Another addendum, I forgot. P.S. I'll put a link to Cliff and Claire's YouTube channel, Tailors on the Tide, in the description for anyone who's interested. They're going to be having loads of adventures on this boat. There's going to be a lot of boat maintenance coverage. It's going to be lifted soon. All the bottom done, so you get to see what she looks like underneath. And then they're going to go off on sailing adventures. I think they're planning on going up to Scotland later this year. So there's going to be some glorious adventure footage for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. Which I think's most hams, isn't it? We like getting out and about in the countryside. Anyway, Tailors on the Side in the description. Goodbye for the final time.